Hello everyone, welcome to World Astrix. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you my workflow for how I made the new channel logo using Blender 2.93. I will walk you through everything from the modeling to shading process. For this tutorial, you will need to install the Curve Extra Objects add-on. This can be accomplished by heading over to your preferences in the Edit menu, click on the Add-ons tab, and search for Extra Objects. To finish installing the add-on, check off the Add Curve version instead of the Add Mesh version. We will be using this first one. Now that the add-on is installed, delete all of the objects in the scene by highlighting them and pressing the X key. First, I will start by creating the planet. The planet itself is simply an icosphere with a number of subdivisions increased. To create it, press Shift A and add an icosphere from the Mesh menu. Head on down to the menu at the bottom left of the screen and click on the arrow to expand it. From this menu, you can modify different settings of the icosphere. For now, we just need to increase the number of subdivisions. I found that 3 subdivisions worked for the look that I was going for. The last step to complete the planet is to scale it up. Press the S key and then 4. This will increase the scale of the sphere by 4. In the hierarchy, you can change the name of the object by double-clicking on the object name and inserting the name you would like. I will change the name to Planet to keep the scene organized. Now that the planet is done, press H to hide it. Press Shift A again, except now under the Curve menu add a star. Press 7 to go into the top view. As with the planet, you can use the menu on the bottom left to modify the settings of the curve. Change the number of points to 5 and rotate 18 degrees on the Z axis. Now we need to add specific modifiers to the star, so we need to convert the curve to a mesh. Switch to Object mode, right-click on the star, and select Convert to Mesh. If you head back to Edit mode, you will see that the topology of the star is all messed up. This needs to be fixed in order for the modifiers to work correctly. Let's get rid of some of these unnecessary edges. Switch to Face Select mode and click on all of the faces of the star as shown by holding down the Shift key and selecting each face one by one. Press F to join all of the faces together. Now head back to Vertex Select mode and select the 2 vertices at the bottom left, as shown, and press J. This will join the 2 vertices. Repeat this process for all of the other inner vertices of the star. Now let's make the faces into quads. Add a new vertex by pressing Ctrl R and hovering over the bottom edge of the top triangle as shown. Left click to position the new vertex. Repeat the same process for the other triangles. And now join all of the vertices as shown with the J key. Now that all of the faces on the star are quads, we can add the modifiers. Switch to Object mode and head over to the Modifier menu. First, we're going to add the Solidify modifier and increase the depth. I chose to increase the depth to about 0.13 meters. Next, add the Bevel modifier and decrease the amount. For this process, I found that 0.016 worked well. Then, increase the segments to 3. Lastly, head down to the shading options and check off Harden Normals. From here, we can go to the Object Properties, expand the Normals menu, and check off Auto Smooth. And don't forget to set the shading of the star to smooth. And with this, the star model is now complete. Let's finish up the modeling process by creating the trees. I'm going to hide the star so that it doesn't get in the way by pressing H. Press Shift A to add a new mesh. We will add a cylinder this time. In the bottom left menu, change the vertices to 8. And now scale the cylinder in the X and Y direction by pressing S and then Shift Z. Now we are ready to add some modifiers. Open the modifier menu and add a bevel modifier. Change the segments to 2. Then, add a subdivision surface modifier and increase the levels to 2 as well. Now add a cube mesh and move it up on the Z axis by pressing G and then Z. Tab into edit mode, select the top 4 vertices and scale them in. Add 2 new vertical edge loops around the middle of the cube as shown by pressing Ctrl R. Select those 2 edge loops and scale them in the X and Y axis by pressing S and then Shift Z. Once this is done, we are ready to add some more modifiers. Tab into object mode and open the modifier menu again. First, add a bevel modifier and increase the amount to 2. Next, add a subdivision surface modifier and increase the levels to 2. With this, one layer of the tree is complete, and we can readjust it to make it look a little bit better. Once you have the general shape that you'd like, it's time to create 2 duplicates of this cube mesh. Press Shift D and move the duplicate up in the Z direction. Scale the cube down by pressing S. Repeat the same step once more and add another layer to the tree. Now that the tree is complete, you may need to readjust the sizes of the objects to get the tree to look the way you want. But this will do for now. The very last step to finish up the tree is to parent the cubes to the trunk. Select the first cube, then hold down Shift and select the trunk. Now press Ctrl P and parent to the object. Repeat the same steps for the other cubes. In this way, when you move the trunk, the rest of the tree will follow along. Remember to go back to the hierarchy and rename the cylinder to tree. And now the modeling process is complete. Move the tree model to the side and unhide the other objects by pressing Alt-H. Move the planet down on the Z-axis. Select a star and rotate it 90 degrees on the X-axis. You might need to readjust the positioning of the star and the planet. Let's add a camera to the scene. Press Shift A and add a camera. Move the camera down in the Y-axis and adjust its position as needed. Go into the camera view by pressing 0 on the numpad. And we want the planet to take up the width of the camera. So, we need to scale the planet on the X-axis, and just to make it look nice from all directions in case you want to render from other angles, you may need to scale it in the Z and Y axes as well. Now highlight the tree model and press Alt-D to create a duplicate. Position and rotate the duplicated tree to the desired position, and repeat this process to fill the planet with trees. Let's finish up the scene by adding some colors. Switch to material preview mode, select the planet, and head to the material menu. Click on the new button to add a new material. The base color of this planet will have a hex code of 70BB63. Select the trunk of the original tree model, create a new material once more, and change the hex color to 694A3D. Increase the roughness of this material to about 0.85. Select one of the layers of the tree, create a new material, and change the hex code to 4C9240. You can either repeat this process for the other layers, or you can link the materials. In order to do so, click on another layer of the tree, hold down Shift, and select the layer with the color. Press Ctrl L and link materials. Repeat this step for the last layer. Select the star and create a new material where the hex code is 914D57. Change the emission color to have a hex code of BB2A14. Decrease the emission strength to 0.5. And lastly, let's add a background to the scene. Add a plane, scale it up, and make it bigger than the planet. Move it down on the Z-axis below the planet, tab into edit mode, and select the back two vertices. Extrude in the Z direction by pressing E. Now select the bottom two vertices and press Ctrl B to bevel the edge. Increase the number of segments by scrolling up on your mouse. Tab out of edit mode, change the shading to smooth, and create a new material with the hex code of 404C92. With the shading complete, it's time to add lights. For this scene, I used a 3-point lighting setup. Add an area light to the scene as shown. Position the light to where you want it. Now duplicate this area light 2 more times. To view how these lights are affecting the scene, switch over to rendered mode. And now it's time to mess around with the settings of each area light. For the top 2 lights, I changed the color to have a hex code of FF200. The bottom light had a hex code of 02BAFF. And again, you might need to reposition and mess around with the settings to get the look of the scene just right. As a final setup, I changed the power of the first light to 5000 watts, the second light to 2000 watts, and the last light to 1000 watts. And remember to uncheck the shadows option for each light. Head on down to the render properties and change the color management to a medium-high contrast. And that is all there is to it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button to show some support and help expand this channel. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.